here's a story that I absolutely love. Republican Senator Josh Hawley has introduced a bill to ban social media for children under the age of 16. This is pretty crazy. Here's the headline. To ban social media for under 16. The bill, called the Making Age Verification Technology Uniform, Robust, and Effective Act. Love the names of these things. It's called MATURE is the name of the act. Making Age Verification Technology Uniform, Robust, and Effective is the name of it. It would require platforms.
Because right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, because right now they all have I can't think of the word, a policy that you have to be 13 to create an account. So is he just saying increase the age to 16, or is that different? You know, because like you already can't create it. You're technically, I know kids do, but you technically cannot have an account on any social media until you're 13.
Well, and many of them, yeah, they do. So no, now this would absolutely make you have a government issued ID, which you can get at age, I guess you get it at age 16. I mean, you can get a passport any age, right? So my 3-year-old had a passport, right? So you'd have to actually be able to hold up a government issued ID in order to do this. But in order to get approved for it, you'd have to be 16. So they would verify your age on the ID. You hold it up, you verify, good, now you're in. So I love this idea. To do this, users would be required to provide their full legal name, their date of birth, their government issued identification to verify their information. So here's how Senator Josh Hawley explained it last night on Hannity. Watch.
Talk about this, what you would like to have an age limit as it relates to social media. Tell us about that.
Well, here's the thing. I think we ought to say to these social media companies, Sean, quit targeting our kids. Let's set an age threshold, 16. You got to be 16 before the social media companies can let you open up an account, before they can go after you. We ought to give parents some control here, put them back in the driver's seat. I got 3 kids. You know, parents all over the country would love to know that these companies cannot target their children, cannot let them open up accounts until they're 16 years of age. Let's protect our kids when they're at their most vulnerable.
And you know what's amazing today? I think the timing of this is hilarious, actually. YouTube sent out a series of emails letting users know that there's a new way that they can watch YouTube for kids. YouTube Kids app. You know, it's been around for a while, but now it's available on different smart televisions. So YouTube for Kids is now available, so you can have, you know, the parental control of YouTube without all of the other stuff.
I've actually seen them putting that in cars now. In the the Android Play, there's cars that have video players in the back seats now, and they're equipped with YouTube for Kids.
YouTube for Kids, yeah. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. My 6-year-old. All of my kids liked YouTube for Kids, and inside the app you could set age limits, you know, so you could let them know the age. Like, okay, my daughter is 3, so they'll only be able to see content from between the ages of like 3 and 4 years old, and it's like Peppa Pig content. You know, it's like cartoons. It's like little, it's like little clips. Or it's like Peppa Pig and whatever. And then as they get a little older, you can adjust the age if you want, and they'll see whatever. So my little girl loves watching other girls do things with dolls, and then she recreates it and plays with dolls herself, and like does what she sees them do with the dolls, and she does her own stuff. So you can set those age limits on that. So we don't give her actual YouTube. We give her like the YouTube Kids version of it. So that's one thing. But the legislation would hold social media companies accountable by creating an audit process, according to Senator Josh Hawley, and a private right of action. Hawley said that this bill would be, also a way to really to commission a report and study social media with a full longitudinal, I can't even say it today. Longitudinal. Why can't I say that today? Can you guys say it?
Longitudinal?
Yes, longitudinal. Because I'm saying it, I'm like, I know that sounds right, but then it seems right. I'm reading it right, but then when I say it, it sounds like I'm saying it wrong. You know what I mean? Longitudinal. Anyway, longitudinal. To fund a longitudinal study to track social media's effects on children over 10 years old. So they're going to fund a study to find out what its long-term effects are. But we already have plenty of data on how bad this stuff is. Particularly, we want to talk about pornography for children. And you think about all of these kids. I'm reading a great book right now, this on Decoding Boys. about young boys going through, as they mature, and it's awful. I mean, this social media stuff and having access to smartphones constantly is awful. It really, really is. So if we can reduce, eliminate like Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, all of that crap, just get it out of their hands. I just say take it away from them permanently, delete it off their phone so they can't use it altogether.
Well, and you have these companies that have meetings specifically. How do we reach these kids? How do we reach kids with our advertising? That is like one of the demographics that they want the most. And so I would say I would be cool with the blocking it till 16 and then not allowing the companies to advertise to them until they're like 25. Like you can't run any ads on these people until they're not, because their brains are still developing until they're 25. And so that's 30. A way to program them. That's like their 30. Yeah. That's like their main objective. How can we program these kids?
In this book, it's actually pretty amazing. Teenage boys' brains, well, girls too, but teenage boys' brains specifically, like the melanin that it wraps around the synapses, basically. It's not until you're like 18 where they can really know the difference between right and wrong in big ways. Like she makes the point in the book. She's like, do you ever notice like we can literally have conversations with our children about not answering the door from strangers, like if just don't do it. Just don't do it. You can only open the door for people, these 5 people you're allowed to open the door. And then one afternoon, someone buzzes the buzzer and I open the door for him. And my parents are like, what are you doing? Open the door for him. And he's like, I couldn't understand him. He was saying something, so I let him in. It's like, what? So how do they do something so smart and they do something so stupid 5 minutes later? It's because those synapses literally aren't done being developed yet. So the frontal cortex is not fully developed to know and fully, know the difference between right and wrong in that situation. Anyway, I think and then also just the problems with body image and depression and anxiety and all of those things. If you think about it, the study found that approximately a new study that just came out recently found that 57% of female students surveyed reported persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. 25% said they had a suicide plan in place. 25%? 10% attempted it in 2021. In 2011, 13% of boys, 19% of girls said they had seriously considered it. Huge increase from those years. And what do we have from then? We have social media. We have ubiquitous smartphones. And it's almost become so important, like parents, are sort of expected to have their kids have these devices for like school pickups and all that kind of stuff. I remember when I was dropping off our kids or trying to pick up my kids from school a few years ago, and my girl was in preschool. My littlest one, she was in preschool, and I was picking her up. And I came to the traffic circle, and they're like, oh, you just got to text her. You should call her. She should be out here or whatever. I'm like, she's in preschool. She doesn't have a phone. Are you kidding me? She doesn't know how to text. I'm not texting her. When I was supposed to text her a picture of a bunny, she doesn't have a phone. But we expect this now. But just think about
these kids. It's like they have these phones. They're on them all the time. They're on social media. They go to school. In the United States, this is the case. I don't know if it is over there as well, but they don't learn anything in life skills. They learn math. They learn things that, they could use, but it's not like they're not learning how to balance a checkbook. They're not learning how to cook meals. It's like a lot of these kids are going to blindly be wandering off into society with no idea how to live on their own, pay their bills, do anything, which is making them stay home with their parents even longer. I know some states have increased child support payments if a kid is in college until they're 26 years old. So it's like they keep either living longer with their parents or they're just going to be out there wandering around aimlessly, not sure what to do with themselves because they've not learned any life skills.
No, and then they're comparing themselves to what they see on social media, right? I know it sounds trite for like us as like in our 40s and 50s to say that, right? But it's true. Eating disorders, depression, anxiety, gender dysphoria. Why do you see this massive rise in gender dysphoria? And surgeries, trans surgeries and all, for kids, because it's all over TikTok, right? And arguably, and many people have called it that, TikTok and Snapchat, basically psychological operations, like psyops, training like a whole, consistency of drones to do certain things. And then you have the porn side of it, which is equally as damaging, specifically for young boys too, because they see. Did you know, this is an unbelievable statistics, and I can't believe this, but it's true, that erectile dysfunction is now on the rise among young boys. Think about that for a second. Yeah, think about that. Young boys, I mean, erectile dysfunction, and why is that? It's because they're watching so much pornography that they then, in real life, it's not anywhere near as like exciting or thrilling. So what they're seeing in online stuff is so much worse, and they then in real life can't get aroused. So guess what? Wait until the pharmaceutical companies start swooping in to, you know what I mean? Like it used to be like Bob Dole, had ED. No. Now it's going to be your 16-year-old. Talk to your child.
Well, and I'm wondering if it's already I'm wondering if it's already somewhat responsible because they've got so many kids on, psychotropics and, Ritalin and Adderall and stuff like that could also be leading to it. And it's like, yeah, all of this stuff is the pharmaceutical company's wet dream because all these kids are self-diagnosing, which then they can go in and they're like, I think I have this. And they're like, okay, put them on this drug. And then what does the pharmaceutical company have? They have a bunch of kids on residual drugs because when you change your gender or whatever, when you have trans surgery, you're on medication for the rest of your life if you want to maintain it. And the pharmaceutical companies are like, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, because one of the things in this study was attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. So, that's coming from these devices. It's coming from just sitting there scrolling through TikTok. I deleted that stuff off my phone. And, I know it's funny because, well, it's not funny. And maybe we should pull it off there, actually. I mean, I don't know. We post our show there because we want people to come over here to hang out with us for a long time, and not have this like attention deficit disorder. So I don't know. These companies piss me off, and I almost want to like just cancel our accounts altogether over there. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.